Hello, I'm Allan of Deloitte Consulting, coming to you from London, which is this week hosting the first major global gathering of the digital asset management community in almost 3 years. And I'm joined by Kubstrup of the Lego Group, who has been sharing his story of digital transformation here with conference attendees, and in particular, how to get ahead of your business's needs and anticipate where your business is headed. So maybe let's start there. What sort of signals are you looking for your business so that you can get ahead of where they are headed?
Well, I think the way we have been and are approaching that is by being very conscious about seeing ourselves and acting as part of the business. We are the business. The team that handles the DAM platform in the Lego Group is not a DAM specific team. We're responsible for infrastructure in our creative processes. So picking up where we're going and the trends comes from simply being part of daily operations.
How have you integrated your DAM world with the creative world and the creative processes?
So the honest answer there is probably more of how we are trying to integrate those things, but it's, I think the biggest challenge there is mindset and how you're scene set. How do we talk about our role when we speak to stakeholders? How do we identify problems and challenges and lean in to help solve them? So when I took over the team a good 3 years ago, I was quite conscious about, for instance, changing the name of the team from being the DAM team to what at the time made great sense, call it digital asset distribution, or actually global digital asset distribution. Not so much because of the new name, but more from the point of changing the name, sending that signal that we are now something different, and we are not to be identified with a platform or a function. But then it's also engaging with colleagues, mainly around our internal agency, leaning in when there are challenges, saying, well, we'll help solve that, so that we build the understanding that this is an area, could be workflow management or other areas that are part of the infrastructure around asset creation and communication creations. And so we play a role there. We have a huge setup around localization, and also identified that as a key part of the infrastructure, therefore leaning in, being a driver in identifying partners, choosing tools, setting up processes. And gradually you just build a different reputation and a different role for yourself and your team, where you're less identified as being the DAM function that you talk to when you have a DAM issue, to more being creative infrastructure that needs to be involved in many different dialogues.
Actually, I think that's a very important point. Be associated with the outcomes, not with the tool or the platform or the technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
What sort of measurements have you been able to make of your DAM world, and how do you use those measurements?
That is one of the constant challenges in a creative environment. How do you measure what you do? How do you find that balance between being sufficiently structured to actually be able to build baselines and do something tangible there, and at the same time enable the creative freedom for your creative teams and your colleagues to work in the manner that enables them to provide the best output. So it's a constant challenge, if you will, to build transparency and to create that visibility of impact. But what we have done quite successfully is addressing some of the processes that are more well-defined than others. For instance, our packaging. So producing packaging assets is a well-defined process. It's repetitive, and you can you can map that process, and you can start doing some experiments to measure how much time do we actually spend on different aspects of that process, like copying files, opening and closing large assets, and use that as benchmarks for introducing new technology or new processes. Can we move the needle on some of these areas? So where we can, we try to do that in basic ways. So putting things into Excel spreadsheets, asking people how many times a day do you do this activity. So it's ballpark, but it's absolutely better than nothing. But I think that's how far we've been able to take it at this point in time, at least.
I think that makes perfect sense. And then perhaps another dimension of anticipation is sort of the world around us. What sort of technology trends or industry trends or even behavioral trends do you sort of stay tuned into so that you can anticipate what that means for your DAM world?
So one of the very big focuses for us as an organization, and therefore also for our team in terms of the DAM and the asset handling, is the whole OESP change going on in many places where we move the marketing mix, turn down a little bit on the paid media and moving more into our own channels with a new richness of asset types that needs to be produced at much larger volumes than we've done before. So that's a marketing industry trend that we are embracing as the LEGO Group, and that has and will continue to have massive impact on the whole DAM setup and supporting the creative processes as one key area. We're of course also, like many others, trying to figure out the whole metaverse, partnering with Epic. What does that actually mean? What will it come to mean? I don't have a good answer to that, but definitely a technology trend, if you will, that we follow. Monitoring AI and where are the good use cases for that. So that are some of the big things. We're not doing a lot in AI, to be honest. I don't think the use cases are so strong yet. It's an area that we follow more than it's an area that we are in.
Okay. Maybe one last question, because a couple of the things that you've talked about are about positioning. You're talking positioning as a capability rather than a technology or a platform. How do you position yourself in your organization as a center that is a critical operational function for the organization, such that the organization will engage with you and feed you what you need, so that you can anticipate their needs?
Yeah. So I think there are a couple of elements there that are critical. I mentioned that a little bit in the beginning of the presentation earlier today. I don't consider myself a DAM person or a DAM leader. I drive business. So I think that's an important mindset. People on my team may technically have titles like business consultants and so forth, but I don't want us to act as consultants. We take responsibility. We co-own our processes. So I think that mindset translates into the dialogues I have with my management, with my peers. When we have areas that we need to do something about, I think it's about leaning in and saying, well, I'm happy to take responsibility for solving a business challenge that lies outside what is classically considered DAM. And as you've done that a couple of times, new opportunities pop up. We are introducing a task and workflow management tool and platform across our in-house agency. We wanted to scale and ramp up, and I found a headcount to support that area. So where's the logical place to put such a person? Well, that became my team, because I wasn't positioning myself as them anymore, more driving infrastructure. So I got that headcount and built up that capability. And gradually, we expanded into owning the full infrastructure rather than just one function. But I think it's by speaking to it, being conscious about what signals you send, how do you, what narrative do you create around yourself and your team, and backing that up through action, and taking responsibility outside the area so that it gets recognized as not only talk, but actually something your colleagues can rely on.
Oh, excellent. Many fantastic observations from a business and from a digital asset management perspective. Thank you so much for sharing with us. I think now back to the conference.